Alrighty, I've started it.
Thinking like a director. Look at you, directing us.
All right, gentlemen.
More, don't even look over here. I lied. Sorry. I lied.
All right, gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of our show, Addicted to Film. My name is Tim Gordon. This is Travis Hopson. We're here because both of us had the opportunity about a week ago to see your film, The Imitation Game. We understand what the story is about, but for our audience, kind of inform them what the story is about.
This is The Imitation Game is a story that tells the story about Allen Turing, his life, and the group of code breakers that were with him at Bletchley Park. It's a the fundamental achievement they did was that they broke the German Nazi Enigma machine. It was, they used to encrypt every message. Can we do it again? This is not good enough. We're a little punchy today, guys.
I know you guys might have had.
Don't even worry about it.
This is all perfectly fine. You guys might have had a late night last night. I know they had the post party.
We have my brain suddenly my brain is not working. What am I saying? It's so funny. Just slowly wind it up. Sorry.
No, it's cool. It's cool. I'm glad you guys are.
Yeah, we good. All right, go ahead, Travis.
Okay.
All right. So picking up where we left off. All right. So Graham, I believe this is your first screenplay, your first produced screenplay.
Yes, my first screenplay. Yes, that's right.
So how has this whole experience been for you? Because this movie has, I remember it when it was on the blacklist and all that stuff, but to see it actually come to fruition, how has that been for you?
It's been tremendous. I mean, this is obviously I've been sort of dreaming my whole life of getting to make a film about Allen Turing. I think his story is such an important one, and it's such an important story for people to hear. And it's been told so well before on the stage and in books, but it's never sort of been told on screen before. And so, I feel so incredibly privileged to get to be a part of this team of people bringing his story to a wider audience on film. And I think that, throughout the process, for all of us, at the sort of the most difficult points of it, the most stressful points, the most sort of overwhelming points, we all sort of knew that it wasn't about us, it was about Allen Turing, it was about getting his story out there. And I think that was that was always the focus, and with our minds on that, we were able to make this film that I think we're all so proud of.
And the thing that I enjoyed so much about the film is that as a student of history, you guys reveal history in this film that many in the general public or the audience probably will have no idea. What was the challenge in trying to unveil that information, but also as a device, not kind of have it distract away from the story?
We didn't want this to be sort of like a dusty, boring history lesson. I think we have a responsibility to make the story engaging, funny, and thrilling, because Allen Turing deserves that. His legacy needs to be spread wide. So that is a challenge, because at the same time we want it to be correct. We took the accuracy really seriously. As in the movie, the shot. It's been shot in many of the locations where it actually happened. Sherborne School is where Allen Turing went to. This is where we shot the school scenes. We shot a lot of the scenes at Bletchley. A lot of things you see in the movie, like the Enigma machine, is actually relics from the war. It's been used by the Nazis. And the big machine you see that it creates is based on the machine Allen Turing created. So it is at the same time you have to make it funny. You want to make it thrilling. You want to make it engaging. And at the same time, you want people to learn about this. So it was a huge challenge how to make all the twists and turns and to make the movie engaging. So, but I'm so glad that people responded to that, because it's in many ways we could actually make 3 movies out of this life, because his life is so complex and so filled with great achievements. He was the forefather of the computer. He at the age of 23, he theorized what a computer will be able to achievements was break meaning, so it's so important and so big. Just what happens after they broke the name, how they have to keep it secret. I mean, it could be its own movie, all the things they had to do that. Then comes the whole aftermath of the war, when he's being prosecuted. I mean, it's like, it's so rich, there's so much going on, and a lot of the things you see in the movie are true. I mean, like the John Cross that Allen plays, it's a Soviet spy actually that MI6 was aware of. Yes, it was all through, he was there.
And I was going to, that leads into what I was going to ask, as regards to your character as well. There's not, at least to the best of my knowledge, there's not a wealth of information out there on a lot of these characters. That includes Turing and your character as well, John Cross, because it's so secret. So how did you do your research into the story for Allen, and also how did you do the research on playing John Cross?
Yeah. Well, in relation to the research for John, there is a biography written about him, and you're taking that information, especially with my character. He made some very strong and bold decisions in relation to how he felt he could help the war effort. He genuinely felt he was, by sharing information with the Soviets, he thought he was doing his part to, defeat Nazism. And so there is that book, and then you have to you go to that, and there's also wonderful books on the Enigma machine, on Allen Leech.
Yeah.
But this, in relation to what happened in Bletchley Park, it's still incredibly secretive.
Yeah.
And for that, you're talking about word of mouth, or even some people who are still alive who worked at Bletchley Park, obviously they're still around, but they don't want to talk about it in any way, shape, or form. Mm-hmm. And I think that's fascinating. It's almost a pact, an unwritten pact that they have with each other, that we said we would keep what we're doing top secret, and we're going to stay that way. So thankfully, Graham wrote an incredible script that filled in all those bits that we didn't have. So it meant that when you did feel slightly lost, you could turn to Graham's script and kind of provide yourself as an actor with an understanding of what their everyday existence.
I mean, it is fascinating to think about in today where there's no secrets. I mean, it's like everything is on the web. It's impossible to keep a secret there. To imagine that what happened at Bletchley Park, which was so fundamental to winning the war. I mean, it's historians now think that because they broke Enigma, war was shortened by 2 years, millions of lives were saved, and it was kept a secret for almost 50 years. Like, nobody talked, which is amazing to this day. I mean, they didn't tell their wives, they didn't tell their children, they didn't tell anybody. Alan Turing, who was being prosecuted for being a gay man, when he stood trial, I mean, to me it's amazing that he didn't raise his hand and say, do you know what I actually did? Do you know what I did during the war? And then shut up, I mean, for justice anyway, And he didn't, even then he didn't mention, So it's incredible. It's like we're literally like lifting the veil of something that's, that's a big secret that a lot of people just know.
Now, Graham, in your screenplay, Alan's character, personality-wise, was kind of a loner. He was a guy who didn't necessarily need a lot of people. How did you balance off the fact, and Morten had to direct it, how did you balance off the fact that he could almost come across as an unlikable character, but he's kind of the protagonist of the film, and it's really his story? How do you balance that out in your writing?
Yeah, I think, we obviously wanted to very responsibly make a film that was true to Alan Turing's life and his legacy, and so that means, showing his difficulties as a person, showing how, I was so fascinated by him as a character for so many reasons, but among them that he was, you see a lot of these, kind of doddering mathematicians on screen who are always sort of, dropping their glasses and trying to find them, and Alan Turing wasn't like that. He was a passionate man. He was a man full of life, full of vigor. And so we wanted to portray that on screen. And so you see him being difficult at times. You see him being a loner. You see him being apart from the world around him. I think that we always talked about Alan Turing sort of being like the outsider's outsider, this guy who is separated from the people around him for so many reasons. He's separate because he's just smarter than everyone else in the room. He is separate because he's a gay man at a time when that is literally illegal. And he's separate because he's keeping these secrets to the government that he's not allowed to tell anyone about. And he had to hold all of that within him, and so the immense pressures within him to keep these secrets and to keep the secret of who he was made him so fantastically distinct And from that unique perspective, he was able to sort of see the world in this way that no one else did. And I think that was hopefully something we tried to latch the audience onto. This unique perspective on the world that he had, because he was different, allowed him to do things that no one else were capable of.
I think we need to wrap this up so you guys can go and get to your intro here. But I want to thank you all for joining us for this.
Thank you.
And for enduring our little...
Yeah, snafus aside.
No.
This has been great.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.